Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's having a great day. My name's Neil. I have liver cirrhosis, which there's no cure for. It's just a daily struggle, kind of living with, and these videos are kind of about that journey and about some awareness for liver disease, which is becoming a little more common these days. Well, actually, a lot more common. Starts out with something simple like fatty liver that has no symptoms and can turn into something that has no cure. But anyway, today's video is just going to be about just a couple thoughts. One, I watched a movie that dealt with liver disease, which I thought was pretty good, and there's not many movies out there. I was going to tell you about that. Also, kind of want to talk about what it's like daily and what I deal with on a daily basis when things are going what you would consider good. We all know how it's like when things are bad, usually in the hospital, you're, IVs and beepings and noises and nurses and blood draws But I want to talk about when you're feeling good, what it's like. What are my restrictions on a daily basis? Things that maybe I can't do or that I have to limit myself even when I'm feeling good. First, I want to talk about this movie. It was called Ordinary Angels. It's based on a true story. Right now it's on Amazon. You can find it in their new movies. I think you gotta rent it right now. It's a new movie, just came out. It's like, I think $5 to rent or something like that. But anyway, I did rent it because I did want to see it because there's a girl in it who's 5 who has liver cancer, and it's about the family struggle on trying to get her a donor, and this person who wound up helping, and in her doing so, it wound up, I'm giving hope and changing this girl's life and saving her and so on and so forth. But I found it interesting that they went through and they did, when the girl would have these symptoms and they'd have to run to the hospital and stuff, they were pretty well accurate on those. Like there was one point she woke up in pain. Her stomach is really bloated and she had filled up on fluid, and they had to rush her in and drain fluid. And there was one where she was totally, totally fine, like in the hospital one day and then out and running around and just acting like there's nothing wrong with you. And then, later on that night, the girl's throwing up blood from burst varices. There's even a point where the father, because the mother had passed away, so not only are they dealing with this little girl who has this life-threatening disease, but the mother who passed away from cancer as well. And they've got all these financial burdens and bills and stuff like that from that. And but there's one point where the dad comes home and says to the grandmother, did she eat? And the grandmother said, well, she ate a little. And he made a comment about, Mom, she has to eat, which is so true, because with the liver disease, you have to continue maintaining your protein. Otherwise, your body eats your muscles and starts eating away at those vital things that you need. So 6 small meals a day that are high in protein keep you going, because your body doesn't. It basically it's as if you're driving a gas guzzler. And it burns through the fuel exactly wrong. Think of it like an old engine that's misfiring on 2 of the cylinders. So you only got 6 out of 8 of them working properly, and so you're getting horrible fuel economy and low power, and kind of the same idea in a way. But in the story, and it was about this woman who was an alcoholic, is, um, whose life was a sham, messed up things with her son, and she all of a sudden picks up this paper and sees this story and finds it on her heart to somehow help. And in the process of growing and learning, part of it was her trading, one addiction for the other. She felt that she needed to get this, by helping her, she would actually do something good, and that would make her worthy of a person, to being a person. But it's so true that we all tend to feel this way from time to time. We feel like if we could just do something good enough, or be good enough, or help somebody out, maybe you'll be good enough, maybe you'll be worthy. When in reality, I think the biggest thing is that we accept the fact that we're worthy now, which can be difficult because, I know I don't, feel worthy at times of being loved, or feel worthy of time that I'm even going to do it right. We all have past traumas, and we all been through different things, but it was really good how they depicted her and trying to help and growing, and it helps this little girl in the process of saving her life, and this woman grows throughout the process as well. So it was overall a really good movie, but I was really surprised that they did the symptoms well, because it's such a weird disease that the symptoms can be anything from itchy skin, to throwing up blood, to going into a coma. I mean, there's so many symptoms. I have some friends that I talk to occasionally have other things, other sicknesses, and they made a comment about, something that they get, and I'm like, oh, me too. Except for mine's caused from the liver. But it's amazing all the symptoms you can get from liver disease and how many different things they can affect, and how it can mimic so many other diseases and so many other sicknesses. It really is a crazy organ, and what it does, and how I can sit here, with a MELD score just under 20 and feel for the most part good, feel okay, health wise. That amazes me. Plus, another thing about this movie too, I wanted to mention, I do have a hard time. I fight to survive. Money's very difficult. There's really no money left over, and a lot of times there's not enough to cover everything I need throughout the month, and there's not a whole lot out there that in a way of helping, as far as different organizations that help people that are on disability. It's all based on income, and because I do qualify, because I got disability, the income shows the point where I don't get any help with anything else. So it is very difficult to try to survive on day-to-day basis with the money got coming in and stuff. But and so another thing I want to talk about too was I mentioned I was going to talk about daily symptoms. So talking about when you're feeling good and when things are going well. So I mean, for the most part, if I'm having a good day, I still get tired early. I know things are starting to go off when I start to not be able to sleep. That's like the first sign for me. But I do have 3 hernias as well, 2 inigual groin hernias. I can never say that word right. And a belly button one. The two groin ones are pretty bad. But, they won't do any surgery because there's too much of a risk because of the liver. You could bleed out, you could, get an infection, and there's just so many different things. So on a daily basis, I have to wear a binder, but that's for me, that's not, everybody who has liver disease. Not everybody who has liver disease or cirrhosis has hernias. I have heard some people that have it though. It's from the muscles becoming weak from my body not processing the proteins and start eating the muscles, and then all that extra weight was on my stomachs from the ascites, and that pushed through the walls of the stomach lining and created hernias. So, but I deal with that on a daily basis, which can be very painful. I have to limit things that I may do, so it can't be too much exercise, no running, jumping, even like riding in like a bumpy bus is really bad for the hernias. That's extremely painful. So I have to avoid those things. On that, I if I do a lot of walking, I got to take a lot of breaks. I also have to make sure that I bring, some like protein bars with me, because there's times that it winds up feeling what I could compare to, like if your sugars were to go low, I become really weak, shaky, hot, really sweaty, all of a sudden, dizzy. Everything just starts shaking. My knees shake, my arms shake. That tells me I have to eat something right away because, I haven't got it to do it while I'm at the doctor's for them to test it while it's doing it. So it's really hard to pinpoint, but I don't know if anyone else has that happen to them that have this disease. And if you do, please leave a comment. So, well, I deal with that. So I have to make sure that, I keep snacks and stuff like that. I have to, limit how much I walk and the amount of energy I'm exerting, because I don't want to get somewhere and then not be able to get back. So I have to kind of plan that out as you go. The financial side of it, I mentioned that. We all know how that goes. We all have bills, and it's hard to make ends meet living on disability. So, but hey, I'm grateful to have it. So, one thing I was going to say earlier about that movie was, we deal with all these things ourselves. Like for me, I'm by myself. I don't have anyone. It's just me pretty much, and a few handful of friends. But imagine if it was my kid, and not only am I dealing with taking care of them, but taking care of their financial responsibilities and everything else. So no matter what we're going through, I truly believe this, it could be worse. So I'm grateful that it's not. So, and I can't express how lucky I feel that it's not worse than what it is. Now, I do know that the way the disease works is I could go from feeling great and having conversations, everything normal, to throwing up blood in a day's time, or gaining weight all of a sudden from fluid buildup, or going into a coma, or, forgetting who I was, or what have you, or even organ shutdown. So, and that's the scary thing about this disease is it may not make a sound for a while. It may be completely quiet and just everything's acting normal, and then all of a sudden, bam. And it's not when, it's more like if, or not if, I'm sorry, it's not if, it's more like when. Said that completely backwards, didn't I? because there's no cure, and because it's not going to heal itself on its own, and there's no medicine that's going to help it heal, just medicine to help avoid other symptoms, it is eventually going to become worse. And I know this, and there's no sugarcoating that. It is what it is. And so for now, I'm going to be grateful with, the times that I have. Another thing, too, real quick before I go, about daily basis, I try to stay as active as I can, although it is difficult sometimes without driving and not being able to afford a car and, living by yourself and stuff like that. Sometimes it's hard to get out, but, we have a ride service in town. I'll go to Walmart and walk around Walmart, or, I'll find something clean in the house, or, I still find ways to stay active. And I think that's the biggest thing. And I've said this before, and this is the last thing I'll leave you with. Body emotion tends to stay in motion, kind of like a river, carving its way through a valley, continue moving. That water's clean. It's constantly got new life. Stagnant water or pond water, everything dies in. You get bacteria, you wind up becoming still, and that, just like the disease. If you let it control you, it will. It's not overly forgiven. But I want to thank everyone for watching this video. Thank you so much for the follows that I've had, for the subs, and thank you so much for the donations to the GoFundMe page and everything, which is connected in the link in the bio as well. So thank you so much for that, and I just thank everyone so much for the support. Thank you for liking the video. If you have any questions or anything you'd like to see a video on, please do not hesitate to ask. I will do my best. Thanks to the liver disease, I tend to forget sometimes, so if I don't wind up making it for a while, just send another message and remind me. No big deal. And I will try to stay on top of that. All right, everyone. Take care. Have a wonderful, beautiful, and blessed day. All right.